So yesterday I was gardening. I told you about that, and the crowds were there, and um, I ran over and I started clapping, and I said thank you because an officer assaulted me on this same force, 15 years ago, and he's still here on the force. And then I went to go pick up my daughter from work, and then my daughter was reading on the news how there was supposedly only 50 people at the protest, and I was like, what? That's total bullshit. That's a fucking lie. So we go down to the protest, and I talked to you when I got back from that, right? And, Jay, my mind is still blown because, like, the cops were flipping us off. They were riding in an entourage with big trucks that were revving their engines at us. They were flying the fucking Confederate flag. They were using, like, loud noises and all kinds of weird shit at us nonstop. And it just kept hitting me, like, the way that, I live in Wisconsin, which is a northern state, and the way that they, in their entourage, like, because they drive by every 15 minutes, and with them constantly was these huge three big trucks that were hanging with Confederate flags. And it became clear that they're together. And then also when we left and we went past the courthouse, we seen those trucks without the flags parked outside of the courthouse. So watching a Confederate flag being flown in the North, that's the sign of slavery. That's the sign of right-wing plantation owners, hierarchy people. And for them to be in the courthouse lot with all the cops, it looked to me like the right wing is fermenting a fucking civil war on us. And they've been doing it a long time that they captured the system here. I come home and later on I'm opening my windows because it's kind of getting hot. And there's my neighbor girl outside and I see her and she's wearing scrubs. I was like, oh my God, girl, you're in medical care? I am too. I didn't know that about you. She's like, yeah, and I wave at her. Okay. Open up my other window, and then all of a sudden her boyfriend walks by, and he's like, didn't I see you at the fucking protest earlier? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, why you want to fucking go out there and do anything for those fucking people? And I was like, because I was sexually assaulted by an officer on this fucking force 15 years ago. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Why the fuck you want to, you know what I mean? And he starts talking all kinds of crazy to me, right? And I was like, look, there's fascists all over this goddamn force, and I know there is, and I don't want them to live comfortably. I believe in resistance. And I explained to him, my parents grew up in World War II, and I learned well that people who resist don't get it bad as the people who go along. The Hungarians, the Poles, the Jews got it really bad from the Nazis. The French weren't mass round up into concentration camps. Neither were the Russians. They fought back. And I'm not going along with these fascists. I'm going to resist to save myself and save my kids. And he began smiling at me, saying, the Nazis won, and I'm right here. As in, he's a Nazi. And he's smiling at me. And I'm filled with so much rage for people like that because of the shit my parents went through, that I took the frame of my window and I ripped it off and I threw it down on top of his head. Then I pick up a glass thing that was in the window seal, right? Because I plant in it. And I screamed out the window, you motherfucking fascist, you come anywhere near my goddamn house or my kid, I will fucking kill you. Do you understand me, you piece of shit Nazi? I will rip your fucking head off and murder you. And he's looking at me like, holy shit. And he starts pulling out his phone to fucking record me, right? So I was like screaming, go ahead, record me, you fucker. Why don't you turn the camera on yourself and record how you just sat here telling me that you're a fucking Nazi, you piece of shit. And I call my buddies and I tell them that they have to come over because he's a guy and I'm not. Then I go downstairs once my buddies come and I collect what's left of my window frame. And I see his girlfriend. She's like, I don't think he knew that you were a rape victim. And I'm like, yeah, he did. Okay. And let me tell you something. He sat here telling me how Trump is fucking wonderful and he's a Nazi. That's what he literally told me. Now, everybody just knows that Trump just raped some 13-year-old girl with Epstein. Everybody knows that he's a pervert, and everybody knows that the Nazis were sexual sick motherfuckers. He's your brand new boyfriend. You got 3 little kids. You better be real careful, honey, because he's going to be raping your babies the second you ain't looking, because that's the kind of piece of shit you're playing with. And she just turned on her heel and walked away, because I'm sure she was shocked and disgusted at what I said. But it's absolutely fucking true. If you don't have any problem with child rapers, it's because you are one. Anyway, so I got a Nazi for a neighbor now. Great. I really believe after all this shit, Jay, that the right wing of my country is fermenting a war, and I didn't see it surmounting all this time. I got to get out of here. It's become clear. This is 1930s Germany.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.